Welcome to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show. I'm Kevin Lawrence, in studio with my dad, Dr. Gary Lawrence, and we are a father-son team dedicated to helping you create your new financial future today. Dr. G and I believe there is a solution to your financial situation, so as you listen, we hope you'll be entertained, educated, and at least encouraged, my friends. Hey, so glad to have you with us. So on this show, we do talk about creating wealth. We talk about doing so with biblical principles first, and then, of course, second with practical application in today's world. Check us out online, by the way. Our new podcast is on iTunes, Wealth Empowers with Dr. G and Kevin. Check it out there. Hey, follow us on Facebook. Plug into our YouTube channel. Send us a line. Our website, wealthempowers.com. You can send us an email there. We love hearing from our listeners, and of course, it's always a joy when we're able to meet you as well. So when it comes to creating your new financial future, you may have all types of excuses as to why you can't get what you want. Oh, Kevin, you don't understand. Trust me, I've heard this. Well, taxes are so high I can't get ahead. Or, well, we have the wrong president in office. That's my favorite one. People think if we had the right president, then their finances would change. Or how about this? The company I work for, they really don't appreciate me. I can't get ahead. Or my spouse doesn't support me, and on the excuses go. Well, I can guarantee you one thing about excuses. Ready? Listen to this. Once you accept responsibility, 100% responsibility for where you are in life at this moment, all of your excuses will melt away. Then you'll be able to create the financial future you deserve. So, Dad, you have this great insight about excuses and what they are. Why don't you share with our listeners all about your insight on excuses?
Well, before I do that, I heard a conversation between two fellows, and one of them said, how much money's enough? And the other guy said, just a little more. Mm-hmm. And, Kevin, when I started on the radio it was 10 years ago. I'm in my 10th year of broadcasting for Renatus now. My desire, my passion was to reach out to men and women in their 50s and 60s who had gone through a cycle of loss because of the Great Recession of 2008. And I gave up on that after about 2 months. Mm-hmm. And the reason I did is because so many people in their late 50s to early 60s to mid-60s that had gone through a cycle of loss, like perhaps they lost their job because of the recession, sure. They lost their house, or like your mother and I, we lost our retirement. People in that age bracket were so embittered, so discouraged, and so disenchanted with life. And I told your mother, I had my counseling practice for 23 years, and I'm not going to turn my real estate investing business into a counseling practice. I'm not going to try to counsel people out of these doldrums, okay?
Right, yeah.
And, the bottom line is an excuse is nothing more than a lie wrapped up in the skin of a reason.
Wow, that's, okay? Yeah.
Let me say that again. An excuse is nothing more than a lie wrapped up in the skin of a reason. And as I heard your opening, until you take 100% of the responsibility for where you are in life, nothing's ever going to change. Mm-hmm. And I remembered back when I was 64 going on 65, I was going through bankruptcy and foreclosure. I was losing everything. And I got to tell you, it was a scary time.
Sure.
But as I reflect on that, and I heard you open your opening statements, not one time did I say, well, it's the government's fault. If my dad would have taught me better, I wouldn't end up where I am. I didn't even think about blaming someone else. I looked in the mirror and I said, hey, Gary, you're the one to put you where you are today.
Yeah.
And here's why. For 23, almost 25 years, I was so focused on helping men and women solve their family and marital issues that I neglected building a solid financial platform for your mother and I. Mm-hmm. And that's why I ended up where I did, because I sent my money to New York City to an investment company to invest my retirement funds in mutual funds and stocks. Well, a lot of good that did me. I might as well have gone to Las Vegas with it, you know.
Sure.
And, enough about that. But I have a real passion for what we're doing in our radio outreach to reach men and women who sincerely want to create a new financial platform. And I'm going to tell you right now, 97.8% of all of our audience, they need a new financial platform.
They do, and whatever excuses they're grappling with, they have to drop those excuses.
Right, and I am so excited to have live in the studio with us today one of my dear friends, one of my investor partners, and one of our highly esteemed and dearly loved team leaders here in Scottsdale, Dave Jaquish, a 61-year-old entrepreneur. He's a former PGA golf professional. He's also the former owner and operator of a large landscaping company that was up in Wisconsin. And back in 2011, Dave came to his senses and moved out of the frozen north down here to the valley. Dave, it's good to have you in the studio.
Good morning, Dr. G and Gary. It's nice to be back, and thankful that I'm here, particularly at this time of year. It's 15 below in Wisconsin.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Well, now, Dad, you're from Indiana originally. So, Dave, were you born and raised in Wisconsin?
Born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison, wow. Yeah. So, what's colder, the Indiana winters or the Wisconsin winters? Because Indiana, I remember visiting as a kid, grandmas and grandpas on my dad's side, and, man, it get cold.
Well, I'll tell you, Wisconsin's probably 5 to 6 hours north of where G lived, so it's cold.
Yeah, it's colder. Okay.
Well, but do you remember living in Canada, Kevin?
Oh, yeah. I
when
was
it was
born in Winnipeg.
35 below zero? Yeah, exactly.
It was cold.
Well, Dave Jaquish, Kevin and I on the radio Monday through Friday reaching out to the Christian community, bringing to them information of how they can change their financial well-being through the wonderful, wacky world of real estate. Would you take a few minutes and bring our audience up to date from the time you were a PGA golf professional, but also I think there was a time when you were in corporate work.
Correct.
For Oscar Mayer Wieners.
I was selling wieners, bacon, bologna in Western New York when I graduated college. That was my first job in corporate America.
Oh, okay. All right, go from there.
Well, I did that for about 5 years because that's what I thought you're supposed to do. Go get a good education, go get a good job. I'm in corporate America just like my dad is. And about 2 years after I was there, he retired. And they came out to visit me, and I said, how's retirement? And his face got really close to my face. And he had spent 37 years in corporate America. He says, if I could have left him 30 years ago and done something else, I would have.
Wow.
And that was a shock to me.
So he stayed in a position that he hated.
He hated
7
it.
years.
Going to his 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and hated it. And I never knew that. You know, he always provided for us. We were a very middle-class family. He was an engineer for AT&T, and he hated his career. And I thought, I'm heading down the same path. And this
Did that scare you when you had that moment of realization you're headed down the same path?
It did, because I didn't like what I was doing, but I thought that's kind of what you put up with. That's what my dad put up with. And I realized it was almost an epiphany right then and there, and I said, I don't have to put up with this. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know what else to do because I was taught to go get a job. So I stayed with that company for another 3 years. And then, you know, as you mentioned, I became a PGA golf professional in the 1991. I started that career. And that was better than the big corporate America, but I'm still working for somebody else. Still hoping at the end of the year to get a performance review so I get a pay raise and all the, you know, typical things that most of your listeners go through as an employee.
Yeah, and didn't you say also you never had a weekend off, you never had a vacation when you were in the PGA business?
I was a PGA golf professional for almost 20 years in Wisconsin. I never had a weekend off. I worked every summer holiday because the person in charge of the golf course, they wanted to see that person when they were off at the golf course.
Yeah.
So I had to be on. I never had a summer vacation for 15 years.
Wow.
Never had a weekend off for 15 years. Wow. And I hated it. Looking back, I hated it. But
there was something that happened there. You're the owner of the golf course you were managing hired his brother or something. What
The last course I managed in Madison, Wisconsin, it was a family-owned course. And my boss had to hire his brother because his mother said, your brother needs a job. So they brought him on, and they wanted me to teach him how to run the family business, which I didn't have a problem with. I didn't have the right DNA to get to that next step.
Yeah.
But I was also the payroll manager, human resources manager. I just kept getting titles and no more income. But I saw his paycheck.
Yeah.
And his paycheck was twice as much as mine. And at that time, I'd had about 14 years' experience, and he'd had none. And that was another epiphany for me. I says, nobody's ever going to take advantage of me again. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do to become an entrepreneur, but that's when I found the landscaping business I bought.
And when we come back, let's go from the landscaping business to how you became part of Renatus. Okay, let's do that.
Love to.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and I'm so glad that you've tuned into us today. Kevin and I have a sincere desire to help you change your financial well-being. And how are you going to do that? Well, you can do that through the wonderful world of real estate investing. And, this coming Thursdays, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum. It's from 7 till 9 o'clock. And this is not a boring meeting. This is an exciting event. And you're going to learn about real estate investing as it really is in Arizona today and other places across the country. You're going to learn about Renatus. And what is Renatus? Well, it's a Latin term for rebirth. And Renatus is the premier real estate investing education service in America. And you're going to meet a group of wonderful people, along with Dave Jaquish, our guest, and Kevin and I, and we would love to meet you. You're not going to buy anything, and why is that? Well, we're not going to sell you anything. This is just our first step in doing our due diligence and getting acquainted, and you taking the first step from making a living to making a life. If you would like to be my personal guest, you're going to have to call me, and I'm going to give you my phone number in a minute. But I want you to know when you call, you will get my voicemail. So for your sake, leave a message with your name and phone number so I can return the call. Here's my phone number. Write it down. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit Kevin and I at our website. It's Wealth Empowers. That's WEALTH, Wealth Empowers, EMPOWERS, wealthempowers.com. Dave Jaquish from the great state of Wisconsin is our guest live in the studio today. And so then, Dave, you went from having a landscaping business to what next?
Well, I had my landscaping business for about 4 years, which was a huge epiphany for me because I start to understand the power of leverage.
Okay.
And leveraging other people's stuff and transferring that knowledge into the Renatus education and becoming a successful real estate investor, learning how to leverage other people's stuff, other people's money, other people's skills, all that kind of thing.
So you were up in Wisconsin. You don't do a lot of landscaping in the wintertime, that's for sure.
I do a lot of snow plowing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did a lot of that.
All right.
But here's the thing with snow plowing. You're up to God's decision of when it's going to snow.
Yeah, there you go.
And I had, there'd be 2 or 3 week period where I didn't make any money.
Yeah.
I had $30,000 months and I had $1,500 months.
Wow. Yeah.
And
welcome to the life of entrepreneurship.
But it's great because it was up to me.
So what caught your attention in real estate investing?
I had always wanted to invest in real estate and had no idea how to do it. Nobody in my family invested. My parents bought their own home, and that was it. And a good friend of mine was flipping a house in Wisconsin, single-family home. She was going to make $80,000 on this flip. And I said, how do you learn how to do this? And she invited me down to the presentation, similar to what we offer here in Scottsdale for our listeners. And I saw something that really interested me because I saw a community of support. I saw a whole breadth of education where I could really dig in and understand how to invest in real estate.
Now, you said she invited you down to the presentation, but that was a 2-hour drive, if I remember.
Well, this one was right in Madison. They had just started Madison, so it was right downtown. If I wanted to go to some of the bigger trainings, then I had to drive to Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So that was a 2-hour drive, one way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so that was Renatus.
Yes.
What captured your attention once you attended the event?
A couple things. I saw, because I'd attended a boot camp before, and you got one strategy. And when I saw Renatus, I saw a whole bunch of different strategies depending on what the market was doing, was number one. Number two, I saw a bunch of people in the room that could support me, could hold my hand to do my first deal, and really had a community that was a lot more solid than having a toll-free number that I had from the weekend boot camp.
Mm-hmm. And those weekend boot camps are good for that, aren't they?
Well, they are. And Dave, you and I talked about our experiences around that because I've been to those boot camps also. I've spent money and I've been to Las Vegas and I've gone here and there and everywhere else, but you said it well. They teach a strategy, maybe two, and they fly in and they fly out, and then you're on your own, and good luck to you.
And then when I had the toll-free number to call them, they'd say, well, if you want coaching, that's extra.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do something else, or we've got a bigger package, and it's just constantly upsell.
Yep.
And, the initial money that I invested didn't get me what I assumed I was going to get, which was a complete package of how to invest in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, those boot camps give you, I was talking to someone, I'll give you an example just recently, and we were, and talking in conversation about, hey, when you want to get started, and they said, well, I found someone who's gonna show me how to flip.
Yeah, right.
So I found one person, and they're just gonna let me tag along, and they're gonna show me how to flip houses. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I thought, wow, that's very limited. That's very small and very narrow. What if the market shifts and flipping houses doesn't work in the market because of the pricing, right? And what if you did flip a house and you got money, what would you do with it? What's your tax implications? Is this person teaching you how to build a business strategy around it? Where's the support around it? There's so many holes in that concept of, here's one thing, go do that one thing.
Well, not only that, but when I've done deals just out here in the last year or two, I've combined 2 or 3 or 4 different strategies we teach because that's what you needed to do to make the deal work. Mm-hmm. So just having a fix and flip strategy or just a wholesaling strategy is very, very limited.
Yeah. Well, you talked about how that you worked in corporate America because that's what your dad did. And you thought, well, that's what I need to do. And the other day I was out in Mesa, and one of my investor partners, he and we have bought 4 lots in Mesa, and we're going to be putting some manufactured homes on those lots. Well, I left Mesa at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I ended up getting on the 101 headed north off the Highway 60. And literally from Highway 60 up to Tatum Boulevard, it took me an hour to get there, bumper to bumper. I mean, the 101 was the parking lot. And I thought, oh, my goodness, this is what people do every day.
Every single day. In fact, coming here to the radio studio downtown took me about 45 minutes and it's bumper to bumper traffic. And I don't know how people do that every day. I walk down my hallway, I'm at work. Yeah. It's a quicker drive.
Yeah, exactly. And so so you're in Renatas, and for your training sessions, you would drive 2 hours to Chicago. So you moved down here to the Valley. Now, something happened about 3 years ago, last October, and you've got quite a story about that. We've only got about 3 or 4 minutes left. Can you share that story? I want our audience to hear this because real estate doesn't care if you're in the hospital.
Well, exactly. 4 years ago, I got hit by a car walking across Bell Road, and the car was going 35 miles an hour when it hit me and broke both my legs, dislocated my hip. So I got rods, plates, and screws holding my legs together. Couldn't drive a car for about 2 months. And I asked people, if you couldn't drive a car to get to work, would you get a paycheck? And not many people say yes.
Oh, no.
But the day after I got home was the 1st of November, and rent checks started to come in. And that saved my butt. Because it didn't matter what my health was as far as my tenants were concerned. They had a lease, and the rent was due on the 1st of the month. Mm-hmm. And they didn't ask if Dave Jaquish was healthy or not. They paid the rent. And I couldn't imagine, if I had a job, I'd have probably lost that job because I couldn't get to work. What would my boss do? They'd have to find somebody to replace me.
Well, and I think also, if I remember correctly, to complement your insight on real estate investing and understanding the condition of properties you were looking at, you also became a property inspector. Am I right?
Well, I was a home inspector. Yeah, I did that right when I left the PGA.
Yeah.
I did that for about 15 years. So I learned, some of the good things, some of the bad things about properties and foundations and all that kind of thing, yes.
Well, and after your accident, you couldn't do that anymore.
I couldn't do that anymore. I can't climb a ladder.
Right.
Or I'm very unsteady if I do. So that business went away. I also owned a rehabbing business at that time. That business went away. I've got one business now, and it's Renatas, because I got to work from the neck up instead of the neck down.
Renatas is a Latin term for rebirth.
And I've been rebirthed.
You've been rebirthed financially. So you don't have to wake up in the morning and say, oh, my goodness, I've got to get to work.
Yeah. Now I don't have to put the ladder in the car, and I don't have to climb on a roof because I'm not that steady.
How many deals since you've been, now you became part of Renatas in what year?
2007.
2007.
It's been, 11 years?
Okay, and during the course of 11 years, how many real estate ventures have you gotten involved with?
Between 25 and 30.
Between 25 and 30.
I do a couple a year.
Yeah, a couple a year. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine doing anything else with my life. I'm 61 years old. I decide when I work. You still got to work. Don't take me wrong.
Sure.
You can't just sit at home and wait for somebody to knock on your front door and say, would you buy my house?
Right.
You still got to do the work, but it's on my time. It's not on somebody else's time.
Well, and I think it's interesting that you say you got to do the work, but that word work really doesn't mean physical work.
Exactly.
It means that you're taking the knowledge you've gained from the Renatus education system and putting it to work.
Exactly. And hiring people to do the work if I'm going to do a flip.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, big time. Kevin, we're hosting another Investor Business Forum this week. I want to tell our audience you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Dave Jaquish from Surprise, Arizona is our special guest live in the studio with us today. Kevin, tell our audience about our business forum this week.
Again, so this is an invitation-only event. Again, we're giving you that invitation, friends, to come meet Dr. G and myself, see what Dave saw all those years ago, figure out what this crazy world of real estate investing is about. And here's our promise to you. Our promise is you're going to see real estate done in real time as it is here in Arizona. You're going to see the numbers right now. You're going to understand key concepts as to how to eliminate debt, getting rid of your mortgage, consumer debt. We're also going to show you how you can invest with none of your own money, none of your own credit, and do it legally and protect yourself. So all kinds of concepts that are coming up this week. You definitely want to be in the room to check this out. And this is like a first date. We're just getting acquainted to see if this is the right place for you and see if you're a right fit for our team. And I'm going to give you a number in just a second. When you call that number, you're going to leave your name and phone number. Please leave a clear message, and Dr. G or I will get back to you personally. So here's the number. It's 602-730-5645. That number again is 602-730-5645. Or check us out online, wealthempowers.com. Go to our website, leave us a message, and Dr. G and I will get back to you right away. Feel free to bring a friend or a family member, and we'll reserve your seat just for you.
And I really encourage you to visit us at our website, because that gives you an opportunity to get acquainted with us before you call us.
It does.
And I had a gentleman and his wife go to our website just a couple of days ago, Kevin, and just the very thing that you and Lori said in one of the videos caught her attention, and they're coming to the business forum tomorrow night.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a great opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, for you to change the direction of your life. It's not going to happen overnight, is it, Dave?
Didn't happen to me overnight.
Right.
But it happens when you stick to it.
Say that once more.
It happens when you stick to it.
Now, you're 61 years old. If someone came to you
You
and
keep
said,
reminding me of that.
well, you're just a young pup compared to me. But anyway, if someone offered you a job and said, Dave, we're going to offer you a job paying you $60,000 a year. All you have to do is be there Monday through Friday from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Would you take the job?
I'm not qualified.
You're not qualified.
I'm not qualified for that anymore. I have absolutely no desire to do that.
You have no desire to work for the other man.
There is no way in heck I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Well, you sure cleaned that up instead of what you could have said, But, there's that old saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Dave, tell our audience, those who are thinking about calling us, why they should call us and why they should come to our business forum.
Because if you see what I saw 11 years ago, you're going to have the opportunity to change your financial platform.
Yeah.
And you need to take charge. If you haven't yet, you need to take charge of your financial future, because really nobody else is going to do it but you.
11 years ago, and I embraced it in 2009, so that's 10 years ago for me.
Coming up on 10 years.
And you and I have just become good friends. And, Dave, it's a joy to have you in our life and on our team, my friend.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me in the studio today.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking about making a change, I want to give you a caution. Change, when left to chance, gives birth to more conflict. If you're just waiting for everything to come into place, it's not going to happen. If you don't change, things are never going to change. And I'll guarantee you this, the only thing that won't change is the fact that things will change. So what's the bottom line? Either you make the change or the change is going to make you. Success is never a destination. It's only a journey. you can succeed. Success is never final, but failure is never fatal. You are full of the power of success. Now, why do I say that? Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Well, to help you and I get this message across to our audience, we have live in the studio a young fellow, Dave Jaquish, 61-year-old real estate investing entrepreneur, and he's a former PGA golf professional. Lived in Wisconsin, but in 2011, he gained his sanity and moved here to the Valley. Dave, it's a joy to have you in the studio with us.
Well, good morning, Dr. G and Kevin. It's great to be back in the studio.
Hey, Dave, a quick question. Your PGA Tour, did I ever see you on a leaderboard anywhere?
Well, here's the thing I tell people. I was not one of the golf pros you'd see on TV.
Oh, okay.
What I did was manage golf courses.
Okay.
And there's about 27,000 PGA members around the world that do that, and I was one of them.
Okay.
I wasn't somebody you'd see on TV.
There's how many thousand?
27,000 about PGA members in the world.
Yeah.
So now, when you say PGA golf professional, do you have to go through a certain training to learn how to manage a golf course?
Yes, I had a 4-year apprenticeship program, and there were certain schools that the PGA sponsors that you had to attend at that time. It's morphed a little bit now than when it was, 25 years ago, 30 years ago when I got started, but it's the same concept.
Well, and of course, you shared your story yesterday on your journey from being a PGA golf professional to becoming a real estate investor. And it's all because of Renatus. Bob Snyder, the CEO and founder of Renatus, had a definite passion to help other men and women learn how to become successful real estate investors. And as he says, we don't just teach real estate investing, we create real estate investors. So let's get into the heart of Renatus. Let's talk about what is Renatus to Dave Jaquish. And let's talk about the instructors. Let's talk about the education cycle that we've created.
The thing that I saw, the first thing that impressed me were the instructors. Because after I saw the first presentation, the first investor business forum I went to on a Thursday evening, that weekend an instructor came to town and trained all day long. And I saw the quality of the instructors, the quality of the class, the quality of the education, and how they took what could be very complex concepts, and I don't want to say dumbed it down, but very made it very easy for me to understand.
Right.
And I thought, I can do this. And if this is anything like the other 25 or 30 instructors we have, this is what I'm looking for.
Oh, I agree with you 100%, Dave. I remember here I was going through bankruptcy, 65 years old, driving out to the Renaissance Hotel on the west side of the valley for live classes. And I just thought, how am I going to get out of this position I'm in financially? And the very first class I took was Creative Acquisitions, taught by Chris Alban. And he taught me in that class how that I could learn how to take ownership and control of real estate with none of my own money and none of my own credit and do it legally. And I got to tell you, when I came out of that class that day, I was encouraged. I went home and grabbed my wife, Sylvia, and hugged her and kissed her. I said, honey, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to be able to do this. And it's just from that one class.
Well, and I think people have those kind of epiphanies no matter what class they take. The first instructor I saw was our IRA instructor and how to use your IRA or retirement plan to invest in real estate. And when I saw that, I was very upset with my own financial planner because I never heard of this stuff before. Our school system doesn't teach it. I didn't learn it in high school. I didn't learn it in college. Didn't learn it anywhere until I saw the Renatus instructors.
Well, the bottom line is, most financial planners, not all of them, there's some good ones out there. Most CPAs, not every one of them, there's some good ones out there. They really want you to be dependent on them, don't they?
Well, it's true, and a lot of them are, I guess I'd say, more conservative than they need to be.
Right.
Because I think they're trying to protect your wealth as opposed to grow your wealth. And you really have to be aware that, as you say, there are some really good people out there, but not everybody is going to have your best interest at heart. It's a sad thing to say, but that's the reality of it for some people.
Yeah. Well, and Kevin, you have quite a story how that in all the years you've had your children, not one CPA ever told you that you could actually write $12,000 a year off per child. Would you share that story real quick?
Well, first of all, CPAs don't tell you anything that you don't directly ask them. Like if you don't ask that exact question, they will not give you that answer.
That's true.
They don't elaborate or anything. It's a little frustrating because you're like, I didn't know to ask. That's the thing. I don't know what questions to ask. So anyways, is all my years of being self-employed, I've been self-employed for 18 years, right? Never once did a CPA or a tax professional or an accountant or a bookkeeper, anyone tell me that I could employ my children and set it up legally in the right way. And I could write off at the time, years ago, it was $6,000 per dependent under 18 years old in my house, $6,000 per child if I set it up right in my business.
That's a $12,000 a year tax write-off.
Now with the law change, this $12,000 per child.
That's $24,000 a year tax write-off.
I'm like, who knew? No one told me. I'm already paying for my kids. I pay for everything for them.
Now, how old are the two kids still at home?
Right, I've got 13 and 11.
13 and 11.
Yeah.
And they have their own checking accounts?
They do, their own checking account, savings account. And through our business, because I employ my children, I hire them as outside labor. And I have a waste management engineer in my home. And they,
I love it.
they keep the.
They have their own debit cards.
They have their own debit
You could
card.
come to my house and manage some of my waste and stuff I got laying around.
Exactly. Well, at the global headquarters of the Rock Group, which is my LLC, we got to keep things clean around there.
That's right.
I bring them to all our events for Renatus. They set up, they help break down, they do greeting. I employ my children into our business, so it becomes a family event. And the government has written the laws in such a way that as businesses operate, we get certain tax deductions.
Now, before we go to our audience, stop and think about this dynamics. Let's say all Kevin made was $50,000 in Renatus this year. $24,000 of that's a tax write-off because he's hired his two children to be part of his business.
It's amazing what most of America doesn't know about the tax laws.
I know. Hey, you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and we have live in the studio Dave Jaquish, 61-year-old entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited. Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum this week right here in the Valley, and it's not a boring meeting. It's an exciting event. And we would love to meet you. Kevin, that's one of our highlights, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
We enjoy hearing from our listeners and meeting them, and they get to see how good looking I am. It's just a great thing.
Well, okay, I'm going to go on with what I was going to say. I'm not going to respond to that. How good looking I am. How funny.
Takes after his father.
Yeah, right.
Humble.
So, well, I'm humbled. I'm proud of it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, all joking aside, we would love for you to be our guest. There's no cost to you. We tell everybody, leave your checkbook and your credit cards at home. You're not going to buy anything. But if you're at the place in your life where you know it's time you make a change and you're ready to learn how to create a financial future that you control, I want you to give me a call. All we're going to do is visit for a few minutes on the phone. Renatus may not be for you, but if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, then I would definitely take some time and look into Renatus. So if you would like to be my guest, it's a 2-hour event. All you have to do is call me, and I'm going to give you my phone number right now. So please write it down. Get a piece of paper and a pencil and write down my phone number. Here it is. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit us at our website, wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H. Empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. And so, Dave, you started your journey with Renatus. You're moving out of the realm. You had a landscaping business up in Wisconsin.
Correct.
Was there a point in time where you said, okay, I've got enough knowledge now, I can start doing real estate deals, or is it an ongoing process?
Oh, it's an ongoing process. One of the things that really impressed me about Renatus is it's updated as need be. As the law changes, as the strategies change, as the market changes, our instructors go back into our recording studio in Salt Lake City and re-record the class to update it to make sure that we're current for the current year we're in.
That is so unlike other educational processes. For an example, I was talking to a lady who's actually getting an associate's in business administration. And she said, Dr. G, our professor is teaching business techniques from 10 years ago. And I said, why no? That's because the secular education systems don't update their information. For an example, Mark Kohler, our legal and tax advisor and education instructor, he just updated again, didn't he?
He is. And I also think of, I used to go to weekend boot camps.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking for somebody that goes to a weekend boot camp this weekend, how current is that information 18 months from now or even 12 months from now?
Right.
If the law changed, how are you going to do that strategy again when you don't have the updates?
Well, and, in 2008 when the laws changed, it changed the way you did short sales. It changed the way you handled title and escrow. And so now it's not just about, hey, how do you analyze a market? This goes into how are you legally setting yourself up so that way you avoid getting your pizza served sideways.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is you're in jail and someone comes in and serves you your pizza, you can't get through the bar, so it goes sideways.
Well, and I remember when the Dodd-Frank Act became law, our instructors went in and updated about 5 or 6 of our classes because you couldn't do that strategy the same way anymore, and they had to change because our instructors are constantly investing in the market. They know what works and what doesn't, and they share all that knowledge with us.
With over, Renatus has a breadth and a depth of education that's over 400 hours of online education, 24/7 on demand. And I want our listeners to really try to get a hold of this. What this means is on your laptop, your iPad, your cell phone, your smart device, whatever you have, as long as you have access to the internet, you have access for a lifetime to this education. They continue to update classes, include new classes. And when I enrolled a couple of years ago, we had 46 total classes. And now we're up to how many? 58, 61?
I think it's 59 classes.
59 classes.
Wow. And we have 31 instructors now.
Yeah, and there's no more cost to the education once you're enrolled. They just keep adding more classes. They've added rehabbing day 1 and 2. That classes were not there when I started flipping. So I'm like, hey, more education to help me as an investor.
Well, and I'm sitting here listening to you describe some of the great features of the Renatus Real Estate Investing Education Service. We're the only education service in America that I know that makes the education program available to 2 people. For an example, when I enrolled in the education, there was this position called learning partner, and I could select one person to become my learning partner. Guess who I selected? My attorney, who helped me through the process of bankruptcy. And he was thrilled that he had access to the same education I had. Mm-hmm. Now, let's apply that to the University of Phoenix or to the University of Arizona. Let's say, Kevin, I wanted to, at the age of 65, go to the University of Arizona or the University of Phoenix and get another degree. And so I enrolled myself, and I said, well, hey, can I bring my son along too? Can he be my learning partner? What are they going to say to me?
Absolutely not.
No, you're going to pay for him.
Well, and also if you want to go and attend it a second time. They charge you the second time?
Yeah. Hey, I need to go back through my classes. Are you going to charge me again? Absolutely. Renatus does not do that.
No. And, when I look back when I got started 11 years ago, what I paid 11 years ago was the only time I had to pay. And I've had updates after updates for a decade.
Well, I remember back in 2015, in August of that year, I had my right hip replaced. In December of 2015, I had my left hip replaced. And you came into Renatus in 2016, January of that year. Is that right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And a deal came our way, I think about April or May. And I said, Kevin, I can't remember the information about the fix and flips. And because I'd been on drugs for about 7 or 8 months recovering from my surgeries. And I tell you, those drugs mess you up. But anyway, one of the great features of our educational system is you have lifetime access. All I had to do was sit down and go through my fix and flip classes again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the benefit of that is you have up to date. I mean, you could literally, and I just try. We try to get this across. The 3 of us, trying to help people behind, on the other side of this might get this. At your fingertips, on demand, 24/7, you have content that will help you build a real estate portfolio that will cash flow you and sustain you and potentially replace the income that you have right now. It's world class. All the practicing instructors are wealthy within their own rights on the disciplines they teach. So they're actually doing the very thing they're teaching. So it's not an outdated mode. It's not theory. It's not hypothesis. It's actually happening. And there's no more upsell to it. I mean, like when you get done with the class on short sales, you get done with the class on buy and hold, the instructor doesn't say, okay, now I've got this whole other download you can buy for me, and here's my other package. You know, you don't have to worry about it. You can just relax and watch your classes, take your notes, and then when the class is over, take action so you can start building your real estate portfolio.
So I know the last 2 properties I bought, I'm back watching the education. And I've been doing this for 11 years. But it refreshed my memory.
Yeah.
There were some little tweaks as the markets change and the laws change that I needed to know before I put the contract together. That's invaluable to me.
And at 61, you need that memory refreshed.
Oh, God, yeah. and I need a bigger screen to watch it on.
Yeah, right.
You know, how empowering, though, is that, Dave? I mean, think about that. How many 60-year-olds out there that can't find a job right now, or they're being downsized because of their age, and there is discrimination in the workplace,
or they're trying to exist.
Always has been.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to exist on social insecurity.
Right. But here you are, you go, oh, hey, I want to build something new. I want to invest in a new property. I want to bring more value to the marketplace. Turn your classes on, get refreshed, go out there and make it happen. How empowering is that for you?
I love it. I can't imagine doing it a different way and punching a clock.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Dave Jaquish is live in the studio with us all the way from Surprise, Arizona. And, Dave, you're excited.
I'm having a ball. I really am. I can't imagine doing anything else.
And you're 61 years old.
At this stage of my life, absolutely. And I can do this until I'm as old as you.
Now, wait a minute. I'm only 74 years old, okay? And, you know, I was just thinking, people say, well, Dr. G, are you really making good income? Let me put it this way. It has totally changed my life financially. I hesitate to put out in the air how much money I've made in this last year. But when you talk about a 6-figure income, I've made a 6-figure income 3 times this last year. That's pretty good income for a 74-year-old fellow.
No kidding. Does that beat Social Security?
A little bit. Oh, by the way, I did get a raise on my Social Insecurity of $2.18 a month.
A cup of coffee.
Oh, my, not even that if you go to Starbucks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum this week. Why don't you come and find out why we are so excited? It's not just a puff of wind that's blowing through our life. Renatus is the real thing. Renatus is the greatest real estate investing education service in America, and we would love to get acquainted with you. There's no cost for you to be our guest at our business forum. It's a 2-hour event. It's not a boring business meeting. This is not multi-level marketing. This is real estate investing education at its finest, at its most complete. If you'd like to be my guest, you're going to have to call me. So I'm giving you my phone number right now. Write it down. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit Kevin and I at our website, Wealth Empowers. That's Wealth, WEALTH, EMPOWERS, wealthempowers.com. Dave Jaquish, we've got about a minute and a half left. Would you speak from your heart to the heart of our audience as to why they should call me and be my guest?
One simple reason. If you want to change your life, this is the place to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge people to find something better than Renatus if you want to change your financial future and your financial platform. And it's really, you know, as we've talked about in previous days on this program, it's really up to you and how you create your life. And if you're going to wait for somebody else to hand you something, you're going to be waiting an awful long time.
Not going to happen, is it?
No.
Dave, if somebody calls and says, I would like to visit with Dave Jaquish, do I have your permission to give them your cell phone number?
Absolutely. I'd love to talk to him.
Live in the studio today is a man that I have come to respect and love and admire. He's been a strong leader with our local team of real estate investors. He's a very key player in our local community. He's a former PGA golf professional. and he's turned real estate investor, young, 61 years old. Dave Jaquish, it's good to have you in the studio.
Good morning. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, good to have you, man.
Did you have any fear when you started your Renatus journey?
Yes, because I'd never done this before.
Yeah.
I'd never invested in real estate. And I was listening to your opening from both you guys, and I think most people, when they start something new, they're fearful because they don't really know what to expect. They're told what to expect, but until you actually experience, you don't know. And I don't care if that's your first job. I think of the first golf lesson I gave. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm a PGA golf professional. On Sunday, I wasn't, and on Monday, I was. And I had to go out and teach.
Right.
And you just do it.
You just do it. Well, it's kind of like getting married.
Well, and the more, I don't want to, and the more you do, the more comfortable you get. But that doesn't relate to marriage. I was going to say that before the marriage thing. But you get my idea. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and the better you get at it. Yeah. And real estate's no different.
Are you more relaxed with it, Kevin?
Yes. Yeah. And it's like anything else. The more you do something, your confidence grows. So you got to get out there. You got to take swings. You got to make offers, and you got to learn. And you've got to you had that desire to say, I will do this, and I will figure it out. Come heck or high water, no matter what it is, it's going to work for me. You have to have that mindset, and then just go do it.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Well, the last couple of days, we've talked about some of the deals that you have done, Dave. We talked about the quality of the education. We've got 31 instructors. I think we have 59 separate classes. We have 7 different vocational directions you can go in real estate investing. But we haven't talked about community, the power of our community, not only here in Scottsdale, but nationwide. The power of the community is unbelievable. You have a young man, I think, up in Rochester, New York, Bill Bastati, is it?
Correct.
And you enrolled him, about 6 months ago, something like that?
About 6 or 8 months ago, yes.
And now here he is. He's a young Syrian immigrant, right?
Correct.
And just a wonderful young man.
Great guy. He's an assistant manager at Starbucks. Yeah. And it was interesting when he got started with Renatus. He says, prior to finding Renatus, I thought this was my lot in life, so to say. I was going to be assistant manager in corporate America, and this is where I was going to be. And I found Renatus and found a way out.
Can you imagine the only thing you have to look forward to is working at Starbucks the rest of your life?
Yeah, and a great guy. He's in his late 20s. He and his wife have a very young child, about a year old, and he's loving the opportunity to create his own life. I
remember at the last regional, Kevin, you came over and said, Dr. G, Bill Bastati wants to talk to our leadership team. So you had me and Dave Jaquish and Bill Predabon there. And here's this young fellow, a little short guy. He flew in from Rochester, New York, and he said, I just want to say thank you to all of you for everything you've done for me. And, I mean, for 5 minutes, he just poured out his heart, didn't he?
He did, and he's just grateful to be part of the Renatus community.
So what's happening up in Rochester? Now stop and think. I want our audience to get this. Dave lives in Surprise, Arizona. Our team is in North Scottsdale. He enrolled a student in Rochester, Minnesota, and as a result
Rochester, New York.
I'm sorry, Rochester. Did I say Minnesota?
You said Minnesota, yeah.
Rochester, New York. And because of the community nationwide, we have this communication. We have these contacts. Tell our audience what's happening now.
Well, it's an interesting situation. As he's going through the education, he is starting to wholesale property. And he called me just a couple days ago. He says, I've got a package of 5 single-family homes that I'm in the process of wholesaling. I'm wondering if you're interested. So I listened to what he had to say, put some numbers together. This just happened the last couple of days. So I'm putting the numbers together. I'm evaluating it. And one of the nice things about this community nationwide with Renatus is I'm not limited to investing in Maricopa County. I can invest anywhere in the country, right? Because as you start to get plugged into this community, you're going to have contacts from coast to coast. Mm-hmm. And this looks like it could be a pretty good deal.
Well, now give the numbers real quick, because you shared those numbers with Kevin and I'll tell you what, it blew me away.
Okay, these are 5 single-family homes. We're looking at acquiring all of them for a total amount of about $250,000. So
that's $50,000 each.
Yeah, these are $40,000 to $50,000 houses, and you might think, oh, these are trash. They're not.
Yeah, you're not going to do that in Maricopa County.
Every market is different. Mm-hmm. And one of the things you understand when you get into the Renatus community is that every market is different. But here's the thing. They're all occupied now with tenants, and they rent between $850 and $900 a month. for a $40,000 to $50,000 house. Now look at the return on your investment on that versus buying that same type of house in Maricopa County to get $900 a month rent. You're going to have about a $160,000 house. These are a third that price.
And you can fund that $250,000 because of your relationship with other investors in Renatus. And your monthly payment's going to be what, about $1,600 to $1,800 a month. You're going to be collecting about $4,400 a month in rent.
Correct. So these will cash flow. You know what? I get done with expenses, property tax, all that kind of stuff. These will cash flow between $1,500 and $2,000 a month.
That's just amazing, isn't it, Kevin?
No, absolutely. And this is the reason we're sharing this, friends, is because as you listen to Dave talk, this is a picture of a nationwide community we have.
Right.
No, this isn't just you're over in the corner by yourself here in Arizona trying to flip a house and hopefully you make 10, 15 grand. This is a broader picture. So, Dave and Dr. G and I are trying to paint a picture that when you get plugged into the community, you become part of what we call the family, the friends and family. You step into a world of men and women across the country that you can connect with and build that business, that portfolio, and have something bigger than you have now. And Dave, when you were in Wisconsin and you were having your landscaping company, what kind of community were you involved in nationwide that helped grow your business?
I was in a community of one, me, and my employees.
Yeah.
I did have a minor community of some of the other landscaping businesses because I subcontracted some stuff out. Because I had more business than I had equipment for.
Right.
But that was it. I mean, I was stuck in that county.
Yeah.
I had no way to do anything in Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, pick your state.
Yeah.
Well, and when we come back, Kevin, I want you to take a minute or two and tell our audience about the community that you were involved with in the insurance industry.
Yeah.
Because really, you were a community one, weren't you? Out there all by yourself.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of, sort of. You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and live in the studio is Dave Jaquish, 61-year-old entrepreneur, real estate investor. Ladies and gentlemen, we are having an exciting event this week. We call it the Investor Business Forum. That's your opportunity to take some time out of making a living and learn how you can make a life. Learn how you can reposition yourself so that you control your financial future. There's no charge to you. You're going to be mine and Kevin's personal guest. We're not going to sell you anything. We tell everybody, what is everybody supposed to do? They're supposed to leave what at home?
Leave their checkbook and their credit cards at home. You're not buying anything.
You're not buying anything. We're just going to get acquainted. And the truth is, Kevin, just because they come to our event doesn't mean they qualify.
No, absolutely. This is about getting to know each other, doing our due diligence. Dad, you and I have told people times past, Renatus is not for you.
Yeah.
And you need to go think about doing something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to be mine, Kevin's guest, here's my phone number. Please write it down. Get a piece of paper and pencil and write it down or put it in your phone. Here we go. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or, hey, visit us on our website. It's wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. And so we're talking about the community of Renatus. I think we're have teams in over 36 cities nationwide, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We're in Sacramento, California, San Diego. We're in Los Angeles. We're in Chicago, Illinois. Scott and Nancy Rowe up there. They've got, I think something like 3,000 people in their team, Dave?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
We're in Atlanta, Georgia. We're in New York City with Hugh Zareski. We're right here in Scottsdale with Gary Lawrence and Dave Jaquish and Kevin Lawrence and Bill Predabon and the rest of the gang. And last night we heard Keely Alston, who's one of our key team players. She was on the Founders National webinar. Didn't she do a good job?
She did an amazing job. I'm tremendously impressed with what she's accomplished the last couple of years. Quit her job about 6 months ago.
Right, she worked for a bank, didn't she?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and she shared last night that, she took that job in the bank because, it was a job. Mm-hmm. And now because of Renata, she was able to walk away from it. Mm-hmm. You talk about fear and courage.
Oh, no, absolutely. And Keely, just a sweet young lady. She just coming up on 29 or 30.
Just turned 30, I think.
Just turned 30.
Just did her first fix and flip.
In her first real estate deal, because a friend and a family member saw what she was doing, saw the community she was in, and she was able to make that happen.
And get this, they made a $40,000 profit on that deal.
Yeah.
In probably about a 90-day cycle.
Yeah.
Well, that's more than a year's income at the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, and again, back to the community, this is Bob Snyder, the CEO of Renatus, intentionally built the model that it's opposite of anything else that exists in the education industry, right?
Right.
It's local communities. Men and women from all walks of life come together to support one another. And the thing that binds us is this real estate investing and cash flow model. And we learn and we grow together. It's just really an amazing system. And as I came out of the insurance industry, I was in the insurance industry for 6.5 years, sold a ton of insurance. We had a local office here, and it was a national company. It was a big company. But at the end of the day, it's just me out there one-on-one with my clients, and that's it. With Renatus, this becomes we play together, we work together, we do things together as a community and as an organization. And that, I think, really separates Renatus from, whatever else exists out there.
You know what, too? I was just thinking as you were sharing that, just imagine if you would have taken Marissa and Ryan with you on your insurance appointments. You couldn't do that, could you?
No.
But to all of our Renatus events, there's Marissa and there's Ryan, and he's in his suit and she's all dressed up. Young entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And Ryan's, 13 now?
Yeah, my son Ryan is 13. My daughter Marissa is 11. And they just love being part of the events and love going to our property tours and attending our business forums. And we get them plugged in. Lori and I make them part of what we're doing.
Yeah. Isn't that exciting? Mm-hmm. That's called community at its finest, isn't it?
It is. And one of the things I'm impressed with when I see your kids at our events is they truly enjoy being there. Mm-hmm. This isn't a job, quote unquote, for them. Right. It's something that they look forward to. Yeah. And it shows. It really does because of what we've got with the community here.
Yeah, and the people in the community love my kids, They just get a kick out of them, and it's fun to have young kids around. It keeps us fresh and young.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Now let's be straightforward with our audience. We all have challenges in Renatus. There are some times that, certain people discourage me, and that's because they have to grow and mature in the world of real estate investing. But I keep looking forward to what can I do to change my attitude? What can I do to improve my attitude? And here I'm almost 75 years old, and I'm still in the learning process. And my heart goes out to people. We might want to address this. My heart goes out to people who think, I think I know everything I need to know. Or I'm at the place in my life where I just don't want to learn anything new. How can we address that?
I don't know, Dave.
I think the biggest thing when I talk to people like that is if you want to be something different from where you are, you got to do something different. And it starts with how you think.
Right.
And what you believe. Mm-hmm. And if you believe you're going to be stuck here for the next 10, 20, 30 years, you're right.
Yeah.
But if you believe that you can do something different, you're also right. But you got to take the steps to do it. And the first step to do it is to come to our Investor Business Forum right in Scottsdale to see a process that has worked for tens of thousands of people across the country.
Well, Sylvia and I, we live in a 55-plus community, and the average age in that community is 64 years of age. And we see people walking around the neighborhood, and they have kind of a zombie-like appearance about themselves. I mean, their faces literally are blank. And I told Sylvia, that's so sad. They have nothing to look forward to. They go for a walk, go home, stay in their house all day. And then I heard on the radio a lady who was teaching some Christian information, and she said, there's a lot of people in their 60s and 70s that they don't have much of a life. He said, but then she said, but I know people in their 30s that are more dead than the senior citizens are.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Because they have no ambition. They'd have no desire to change their position in life.
They've allowed society to beat them down. And that's
at a young age.
And that's the choice that they made, but they can make a different choice if they want to, because it doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, what would you say to the men and women out there in their 30s and 40s who are burned out working for the other man? They're frustrated with their financial picture. They may have a degree or two. I mean, you're a well-educated man. You've got a degree. You've been very successful in our counseling ministry. You were very successful in the insurance industry until Obamacare came in and they quit paying commissions. What would you say to people in their 30s and 40s, and maybe even their early 50s, as to the one key thing they can do to change their financial position in life?
Their desire has to be bigger than their anger. Their desire to be successful has to be bigger than them blaming, their circumstances or people of the past. It's got to be bigger. If you don't have a vision for where you want to take yourself, then you're just going to keep plodding along day in and day out doing the same thing. It's just like the desire has to be huge, but then behind that, because it's never one key thing, right? There's many things.
Right.
But it's also, you got to have a commitment to want to be more than you are, and then be willing to do the uncomfortable things to make it a reality. If there's someone out there that they're 30, as young as 30, 35 years old, and they have no vision and no hope, and they feel despondent, that's a tough place to be at that young age,
Well, and I also think it's important to surround ourselves with more positive-minded people.
Right.
Because if we keep hanging around with people that are down and out, or feel they're down and out, and hoping to make it from paycheck to paycheck, that's going to rub off on us.
Well, yeah, the bottom line is you become like the people you hang around.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people would be in a better spot financially if they start to surround themselves with, I don't want to say, maybe more successful people, but more positive outlook people.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I tell everybody that Renata's, at this time of my life, I'm at 74 going on 75. I am so privileged to be part of a community on a nationwide level of positive, proactive, profit-minded people. I mean, that feeds me, that encourages me, that challenges me.
Well, and I agree, and it's such a supportive community that, we're all a part of, that I can't imagine doing something else. And it's amazing to me the success we see, whether you're somebody like Healy who's 30 or you're somebody like Dr. G who's almost 75, and everybody in between has the same opportunity as the rest of us.
Well, I think of Bud. How old is Bud?
71, something
71,
like that. Yeah.
Gone through a cycle of loss, totally discouraged, and now he's become part of our team.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a new person that just got connected to our community, and he's trying to get back into the swing of things. And he's 70, 71 years old. I love his energy.
I do too.
Now he has something real and tangible that he can build and make into reality, and it's an amazing thing to watch.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show. Dave Jaquish from Surprise, Arizona is our guest live in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm hosting another business forum this week. I would love for you to be my personal guest. It's a 2-hour event from 7 till 9 o'clock in the evening. It's usually on Thursday nights. And if you are my guest, there's no cost to you. And I tell everybody, leave your checkbook and credit cards at home. You're not going to buy anything. We're just going to get acquainted with each other. We're going to take it one step at a time. If you'd like to be my guest, here's my phone number. Write it down. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit Kevin and I at our website. It's wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H. Empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Kevin, I love the name of our website, Wealth Empowers.
Wealth Empowers. We should change the name of our show to Wealth Empowers.
With Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, and you know what? I'll tell you what, it's more fun to go to the grocery store with money. And, I'm so old, I remember, Dave, when you used to pump the gas and then go in and pay for it.
And also remember when somebody came out to pump it for you.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. You don't do that today, do you? You
Not
pay
even
before
close.
you pump.
You prepay.
Yeah.
Was that before electricity or after? Listen to you two.
That's when Dr. G would get out in front and crank the car to try to get it to start, I think.
Well, my first car was a 1947 Plymouth, and I thought I was in heaven driving that thing. A 1947 Plymouth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that's never going to change is the fact that things are going to change. Now, that's the truth. And change, when left to chance, gives birth to conflict. So what's the bottom line? Well, it's real simple. Either you make the change, or when the change happens, the change is going to make you. Stop being a circumstantial creator. Start living life on purpose. Become an intentional creator. You know, when it comes to your problems, you can resist them, resent them, rage about them. But here's what I encourage you to do. Why don't you learn how to respond to the positive purpose of your problems? Successful people are not people without problems. They're people who have learned how to solve their problems. And did you know success is not a destination? It's nothing more than a journey. So my question is, are you enjoying the journey? Did you know you can succeed? All that's given to anyone is given to you. God hasn't favored someone else more than you. Now listen very carefully. Success has never been final, and failure has never been fatal. No one's ever died from failing. An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You are full of the power of success. Now, why do I say this? Well, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G, and I want you to create success. Why not start today?
It's been said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. No matter your circumstances, there is a solution to your situation. Dr. G and Kevin invite you to explore the possibilities of creating a new financial platform that you control and no longer allow yourself to be controlled by the circumstances of your life. Visit them at wealthempowers.com. That's WealthEmpowers.com. Come and meet Dr. G and Kevin at the Investor Business Forum. Oh, one last thought. Isn't it time for you to stop making a living and start making a life? Call Dr. G and Kevin at 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645.